You are tuned to Channel 9, Kennett Zenith Cablevision. Thank you for watching. It's time for talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. And now, it's time for Talk.
This is going to be a very informative program for me and for all of you who are watching tonight. We have as our guest the County Commission, formerly known as the County Court. We have the three judges, the three commissioners. See, I'm already into it. Let me introduce them to you, and then you're going to be listening to them as they talk about this proposed hospital sale. That's going to be the main topic for tonight. Let me introduce them to you. On my left here, J.C. Skaggs, whose district includes the Independence Township and everything south, I think. All right, in the center then is Van Hawkins from Cardwell. He has been elected the presiding judge of the county court, and I believe this is the first time, Van, that you've been our guest in the studio.
That's correct.
All right. Then next to Van is J.B. Gray, who told me, of course, he's the north end of the county, represents the north end, and his territory is everything from White Oak on up.
Right.
Mr. Gray, your first time in the studio also.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, J.C.'s an old hand at that, so...
Let's see, I have done
cool
it.
As a cucumber.
I have done it before.
Let's see, he's cute. All right, okay. Now, we have a lot of questions that we really want to hit these gentlemen with, and I wish I knew all your questions as you were sitting in the audience, but surely yours are like mine. When I first heard of the sale of the hospital, there was all rage and indignation that we would do this. And from talking to other people, I feel like I'm fairly normal, you know, that's a normal feeling. Now then, we have seen this through the hospital board and so forth. We have seen this all change to where actually it looks like the sale is going to be completed. And did I not read, Mr. Hawkins, that you have been there is a rough draft in Kennett of a second draft of the sale that you all are going over. Have you had a chance to look at this yet?
Just briefly. We are supposed to go over it this afternoon with our attorney.
Okay, and so you don't really know the contents of that as yet. All right, now just recently you three gentlemen have been all the way to California, just seen the sites, and among those sites, J.C., what were you really there for?
Basically, we went out to see a hospital that was owned by Safeco.
Who's the purchaser?
Care.
Yeah,
Safe
okay.
Care.
Safe Care. Okay.
Safe Care and managed by Continental Health.
And that's who proposed to buy this hospital?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you went out to look to see what they had.
Mm-hmm. And what they were doing.
And what they were doing. Okay, Mr. Gray, were you impressed?
Very much so. Now, they're in the process of building a complete new hospital. The architect, I would call it more of a Spanish design when they get through. They had some very expensive equipment in the hospital, scanners, the very latest.
All right. Is there any doubt in your mind about what the hospital equipment here in Kennett would be updated if they were to buy?
That's what they say in their contract, that it will.
Okay. Is there a monetary amount that they say, or do they just say we will update equipment? Are they specific about anything?
I believe over a period of time they said $190 million and $900,000.
Oh, for equipment.
Right.
Okay. Now, J.C., back to you. What was your first opinion about the hospital sale? And was I on base with you, or did you always think it would be a good idea to sell the hospital?
No, I wasn't for selling the hospital.
Okay, now, it's been built with taxpayers' money. Mm-hmm. Okay, now, what has changed? Are you in favor of this? Do you think
I am
it's a
in
good
favor
thing
now, yes.
What about that, the other two gentlemen? Is everybody really in favor of selling or no?
I have a little different opinion.
Okay.
Being from South End, and most of the people that I have occasion to come in contact with were for selling the hospital all the way along.
You were always for selling the hospital. Right. Okay, now let me ask this obvious question, and surely you've been hit with this before. How are we going to be better off to sell the hospital to a profit-making organization are we not going to be much greater burdened with costs? Okay, who wants to answer that? Okay.
Which is nothing I can say is a guarantee. But you can rest assured that hospital costs will go up. Now, let me kind of look at this.
I mean, more than they would have gone up were it still taxpayer-based.
Okay, we'll talk about that for just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, you talk about the taxpayer base. First place, the hospital has never funded depreciation. So consequently, and they have bought some equipment, and the building is in fair shape, but they do not have the money to bring the hospital up to standards.
Okay. Equipment-wise, you're talking about.
Equipment-wise and building-wise. In other words, when it was built, there was very few private rooms, and that was fine when it was built. But people today demand private rooms. You know that.
Well, all right. Okay.
Right?
So,
and there's just a lot of things that needs to be done to update it, because as you know, there's nothing, as far as I know, maybe space, that is escalating as fast as healthcare. Not even in the cost.
That's right.
And so consequently, you have to. Now, we were losing, when I say we, the hospital, we're losing a lot of patients to Poplar Bluff, Livel, Paragould,
you think because
Jonesboro.
of more updated equipment?
Well, and Memphis. Well, a lot of people, and again, back to you when we say it's going to be higher. I use this as an example. If you go out here and, there's something wrong with you, they're unable to find exactly what's wrong, and you spent 3 or 4 days, and then you have to go to Memphis to find out what's wrong. Now, and you spend some time down there. Now, would you not be better off if we had had equipment and we could have found out what was wrong with you here rather than to go down Memphis? Sure. And true, it would have cost you more to find out what was wrong here, but you could have found out.
Right. Okay.
So
all right. That point is well taken. Now, let me ask this question: will there be any doubt in the mind of you gentlemen? Mr. Gray, let me ask you about this. What about if the hospital is sold? Would there ever be a time that they could come in, say in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, and say, okay, we've decided to shut this hospital down here and combine it with maybe a facility we have in Poplar Bluff or one we have in Osceola or wherever? What about that? Do you have any guarantee?
Well, I don't think there's any way in the world that you could guarantee it. In other words, if we signed the contract tomorrow, I don't think that you could draw a contract what they couldn't sell it day after tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Okay, so there's to be no provision in there that the hospital will be
not to my knowledge
Kennett.
as of now. Now it may be in the contract, but I haven't read it.
Okay.
But of course it's not. It's nothing definite. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Okay.
Well, that doesn't concern me that much, Rosemary, because they have already done surveys and they know that the need is here, and we can support this size hospital if we get the modern equipment and get it updated like it should be.
Okay, so there's no doubt you feel like the hospital will be maintained here.
Yes, ma'am.
But now you have now this is a profit-making organization.
Right.
It's strictly business, and if the time comes that it does not make money, would it not be logical that it could just say we'll just pull out?
Well, we have no assurance of that.
Okay.
If we don't sell it and it continues to go downhill like it is, we have no assurance that it wouldn't have to close later on down the line, unless the taxpayers would pick up the difference.
All right. Okay. Another question. Someone has expressed a worry to me, a fear, that if the hospital is sold, that here everybody that's been working out there will be, the jobs are all going to change. Everybody's going to be let go, and we're going to come in with some new people. Now, you're smiling because you've heard that too, no doubt.
Right.
Okay,
But
somebody address that.
It's not true.
These people, Continental Health Services, they don't have a hotel full of people waiting to go someplace to work their business. They got to have people, and they want these people.
Okay, so
Sure.
you feel like the jobs are going to be here no matter
now,
what.
I'm not, because they say if you're a good employee of Duncan County Memorial, you'll be a good employee of ours. If you're not a good employee of Duncan County Memorial, you may not be an employee of ours.
Okay.
So, it's there's no guarantee. You're talking about guarantee. You don't know whether you're going to be here tomorrow. But you're working everything and planning like you're going to be.
Okay, so they do the hiring as they please, and they will do the firing. Have they made any sort of commitment to you gentlemen that they will retain most of the people out there, or is that even a factor in this draft?
I think this is one of the things that we were going to address in this new draft. In other words, and we have just a verbal. Now, again, it's not in the draft. I have not been able to find it, but it will be, excuse me, that, you know, we will have a verbal, in the draft rather, that they won't go out there and start firing. Now, at least have a 90-day moratorium.
Okay. All right. Mr. Hawkins, are there any areas in this draft that are giving the Commission more concern than others?
Well, one that's concerning me, Rosemary, is the fact that in the first original draft, they agreed to assume all liability for indigent care, and with no limit, is what we wanted. In the second draft, then they come back and they have inserted a $250,000 limit on indigent care. That, to me, will have to be worked out. I couldn't live with that.
Okay. Mr. Gray, what about any areas in this? I imagine that's also a major concern to you.
Yes, it is, and there's several things in there. I'm very much concerned, but we'll just have to go over it with our attorney and their attorneys. And
do you think you're going to be able to work this out, where they would assume the responsibility for indigent care? $250,000 is just a drop in the bucket, isn't it?
To our satisfaction. If you don't, I don't think we'll sign the contract. You know.
Okay. Would that one thing, would this provision, $250,000, would that be enough to hold this up in your opinion?
I don't know the figure in the past that we've been paying out. But what I'm saying, if it is not satisfactory in all respects, I don't think I'm sure that I'm speaking for myself. I'm sure I won't sign it. But everything's got to be.
All right. Mr. Skaggs, what about you? Any other major concern in
Oh, well, there's that many major things. Not all of them are major. Of course, one of them is mental health, as you spoke of.
Okay. What about, I know we had funds from some certain things.
We had $330,000 originally on the new health unit.
Right.
Mental health unit.
To provide, and the money was loaned to the county, or given the county, a provision that mental health would be seen after. I know when the health unit was closed out here, they made a provision with the Family Counseling Center to provide that service. Okay. What will happen? If this hospital is sold, is there a default on care for the mental health? What's going to happen?
I had a phone call this morning. In fact, I had two phone calls, and Mark Callahan came by to see me, so we're pretty well versed in that this morning. The gentleman that I talked to in Washington this morning indicated that, he was asking me what we had done, toward this. And I told him that we had a verbal agreement. Again, this is another one of those issues, that they would continue the contract as it is going now. And he said that would be fine, and if they would do that, then we would not be responsible for any payback.
We would have to pay back to the federal government a huge sum.
Right.
Okay.
A huge sum. He said it would be, as a rule of thumb, the way they figured now, it would be about 125% of what we borrowed, which would run it up to around maybe $370,000. I mean, that's a possibility.
That's a possibility.
But this will be in the contract with them.
All right. There will be a clause that they fulfill the mental health responsibilities.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
And they've indicated verbally that they would do it.
Okay. Now, one thing I want to know. We have just a moment left. What if? Do all of you men have to agree on the sale? Is it 2 out of 3? The final decision is up to you. How does it stand? What if 2 of you are for it and 1 is against, or vice versa? What about that?
You can ask the boss about that.
All right,
Well,
boss.
personally, it'd have to be unanimous with me.
It has to be unanimous.
It would have to be. Sure. I'm not saying that has to be to make it legal, but it would have to be to make it right with me.
Okay, so you would feel if any one of these other 2 men, if you want to sell, but either one of these other 2, that you would hold up the sale on that basis?
Yes, it has to be unanimous with me,
all right.
with the whole
I think
commission.
we all feel the same way.
Okay.
Yeah, it would with me.
Okay. You've been listening tonight to the 3 county commissioners. They've been our guests. We've been talking about hospital sale, and gentlemen, it's been enlightening to me. I haven't got all my questions answered, but in 15 minutes that's impossible. But thank you for being our guest.
Thank you.
You have been watching Time for Talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. If you are aware of items of interest, please let us know for possible airing on this program. Time for Talk is designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program and is made possible by the cooperation of Kennett Cable Vision Incorporated. The Holy Scriptures come alive. Coming up next, stay tuned.